From Gracia, this is the Rorschach, Georgia update from the 16th of May, 2024. Quick summary of what's going down in Georgia. On Monday the 14th, Parliament rapidly approved the Russian law in its third and final reading with 84 votes in favor. Outside, the protests escalated quickly. Participants left messages like "given away for nothing" and "this country is ours" on Parliament's walls, tried to get past the iron barriers at the entrance. Spetsnaz, or special forces, dispersed the protests. According to the Ministry of Internal Affairs, the demonstration exceeded legal limits and turned violent. Footage of at least 10 demonstrators being detained by the police. However, the exact number of arrests is still unknown. However, there is one confirmed arrest from the protest that brings back a story from previous episodes. Tanta Kalandadze, mother of Lazare Grigoriadis, confirmed his arrest. Grigoriadis has recently been pardoned by President Salome Zurabashvili after being convicted for injuring police officers and damaging state property. Still on the arrest from Monday the 14th, David Katsarava, member of the anti-occupation movement, was arrested and brutally beaten during the protest. He was rushed to Ingorokva Clinic with a broken jaw and significant damage to his face and head. He needed immediate surgery. Sopo Hajipuridze, Katsarava's wife, said he was hit on the head very purposefully by very many people. In more news on the Russian law, on Wednesday the 15th, Nicolas Samkharadze from the ruling party had a chat with visiting EU parliamentarians right before the session. They supposedly tried to clear things up about the bill. Michael Roth, German parliamentarian, warned that sticking with this law could hurt Georgia's reputation and mess with its plans to join the EU. Samkharadze hoped this might show that not everyone in the ruling party was ignoring the EU, although the warning had absolutely no effect on the ruling party, and that is in fact ignoring all of the EU's warnings. Moving to the other side of the Euro-Atlantic community, on Wednesday the 15th, James O'Brien from the U.S. State Department said that if Georgia passes certain laws that don't match EU standards, the U.S. might rethink its aid to Georgia, which includes military and economic support. O'Brien noted that oligarch Bidzina Ivanishvili refused to meet with him due to what he called some misunderstandings about U.S. sanctions. An understatement. The meeting was supposed to clear up these misunderstandings and discuss future cooperation, but Bidzina refused to meet him. So, how's the Georgian government reacting to all of this? Prime Minister Irakli Kobakhidze, in his haircut, said in a press conference that he thinks O'Brien wasn't being serious and that the sanctions could hurt the U.S. more than Georgia. Which, of all of the hilarious bullshit Kobakhidze has ever said, this probably takes the cake. He called for better cooperation with the U.S. instead of throwing around threats. Okay, Irakli. On the local political front, President Salome Zurabashvili said in a CNN interview that she won't run for re-election. Instead, she promised to support Georgia's European path ahead of the upcoming elections by backing pro-European parties and civic groups. Big changes are coming to newly built dwellings in Georgia. On Wednesday the 9th, the country ramped up its efforts to tackle energy waste in homes, focusing on making buildings more energy efficient. Starting Monday the 1st of July, all new buildings will have to meet strict energy standards, a move aimed at reducing hefty winter energy bills and ensuring homes stay cozy without the cost. Push comes after Georgia aligned its policies with EU standards following the association agreement signed in 2014. The country will also revamp old buildings to improve insulation and overall energy use. These steps are part of Georgia's strategy to fight energy poverty, helping families who struggle to afford basic energy services. On that note about energy, on Tuesday the 14th, the country launched its first ever floating solar power station in Gardabani with the help from USAID. The station will be saving around $32,000 a year, cutting electricity use by 40%. It also reduces greenhouse gas emissions. In travel updates, on Tuesday the 8th, airline Georgian Wings will launch a new direct flight between Tbilisi and Prague. Flights will run twice a week using a Boeing 737 that seats 148 passengers. Shalva Kiknadze, president of the airline, said they introduced the route due to high demand. On another travel update, starting from Saturday the 1st of June, anyone visiting Georgia will need to have medical insurance. This new rule requires that insurance documents be available in Georgian, English, and Russian, and not having this coverage could lead to a fine of approximately 300 lari or $100. Note that this was reported by Jam News in Armenia, so it may just apply to travelers from Armenia. But the article doesn't say that, so we're reporting as is since Jam News is reputable. On Monday the 13th, Otar Shamugia, the agriculture minister, highlighted that the top priority for his ministry is to help farmers and entrepreneurs access the EU market. Speaking at the Europe Day event in Tbilisi, he emphasized that European integration is a key part of Georgian politics. Shamugia mentioned that the EU market is super important for Georgia and pointed out specific achievements in this area. He noted the ministry is working hard to implement the necessary standards and regulations to secure the country's place in the EU market. Otsneba, pretending that they are working towards European integration while clearly doing everything possible to sabotage it, is very, very clear at the highest levels of the government. But this comment by the agriculture minister shows that even in the ministries and in lower levels, they are coordinating this lie as best they can. On to entertainment news. On Sunday, the 13th, Georgia's Nutsa Buzaladze ended up in 21st place in Eurovision 2024. Nutsa scored 34 points in total. Meanwhile, Switzerland's entrant Nemo clinched the top spot with 591 points, securing the right to host next year's contest in 2025. Total of 26 countries competed in this year's grand final, showcasing a vibrant array of musical talent from across Europe. Moving on Thursday the 16th, Tbilisi saw the grand opening of a new one-of-a-kind puppet theater called Dollhouse. The new venue is set in a historical area of an old Soviet-era film studio and promises to mix puppet and object shows. Tea Tsulukiani, Minister of Culture, Sport and Youth, attended the meeting. Director Nika Sabashvili, who came up with the idea for the theater, aims to make Dollhouse a multifunctional cultural and educational hub. The theater will host creative evenings, salon meetings, cinema screenings, plans to support young film artists by providing a space to develop their skills and showcase their work. On Friday the 10th, Saperavi, Georgia's ancient grape, received international acclaim at the Global Wine Awards. Originating from the southwestern part of the country near the Black Sea coast, Saperavi is a grape variety that archaeologists believe is 8,000 years old. Grape is a cornerstone of Georgian wine culture, known for its deep color, strong character. And in perhaps the most vomitorious news of the week, on Tuesday the 14th, Prime Minister Irakli Kobakhidze announced that Friday the 17th of May will now be a public holiday across Georgia to celebrate, and I quote, the day of family purity and respect for parents. Essential workers, those in finance and state procurement officials, won't get the day off, but for everybody else, it's a new holiday. The Patriarch of the Patriarchate of the Georgian Orthodox Church also confirmed a procession will be held in Mscheta to mark the occasion, continuing a tradition they started in 2010. How Victor Orbanian. Finally, we wanted to make a comment on a story we shared in the last episode. We made a mistake. We said that the book Georgia Against Stalin was written by Georgi Kandelaki, but it's actually by Nutsa Buzaladze. Former politician Georgi Kandelaki was heavily involved in the book's promotion and wrote the preface, but he's not the author of the book. Sorry about that, Lasha. Thanks to our community for bringing this to our attention. And that's it for this week. Thanks for joining us. Before we leave, we want to invite you to listen to the third episode of A Georgian Ramble, new section of the Rorschach Georgia Update, where every now and then we share a more or less unedited conversation with a guest or two. This episode, I'm joined by Ted Jonas and Masho Lomashvili. We talk about current protests, how things feel on the street, where they're going. Find it in the same place you listen to a regular Rorschach Update. Don't forget to subscribe. Nachwandis.